Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother Advis back with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 3, Episode 15. Now, as we usually do, and as I always usually say, let's go ahead and I'm going to put in the comment section the topics for tonight, as well as we're going to put up our logo and have that in the background. But as y'all are coming in, y'all let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's the word as I figure out what's up with this dang chair. But peace and love, Kundan. Good to see you in here. What's the word? We back. But again, once y'all come in, y'all let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's the word. Whether if it's a word or just what's going on with you, please let me know. And as those people are coming in, everyone is showing up. Shout outs to those who will be watching this later, as well as who will be watching this now here either on YouTube or Instagram. And if you are on YouTube, go ahead and follow your boy at Avid Speaks, because there are more videos to come on that platform, and we are pushing towards 1,000. So let's keep doing our thing. So go ahead, support your boy over there. But with that, before I go ahead and get into these topics, it says, good evening. Is it your birthday's week? No, it's not. It's just that's the topic. Yeah, nah. And my birthday's been passed. Yeah. And I have my own perspectives on what I mean by birthday, but hey, it's short, but we'll figure it out. But again, with that, for today's episode, we're going to be talking about, like we usually do, we're going to go over some current events. The next thing we're going to get into, we're going to talk about birthdays, just in general. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how does being older bring more realizations. And that I really want to hear from y'all and everyone about, is being older, and does that bring more realizations just because you're older? But again, as y'all are coming in, please let me know how y'all doing. Thank y'all for being in here. But let me see. I'm going to turn this down. Get everything else set up. But yeah, what we got? Okay, I got a paid gig to write for a Buddhist magazine to be debunking decolonized colonial ideas of Buddhism and Hinduism. A 3-article series, so that's exciting. Congrats to you, Kundan. That is definitely, shoot, get some claps to you for that, for sure. Giving the truth as well as getting paid for it, you know, it's a good feeling, as well as continuing to pass on the knowledge and be able to sustain yourself in this life, since that's how the system works. But very exciting to hear that. Right, with that going on, y'all, let's go ahead and we're going to jump into it. Before we do, we're going to, of course, play the show song, which eventually I'm just going to put it out. But for right now, it is still in the works. But here we go. If you're new to this or you don't know what's going on, this is the show song. So once you figure it out, you can follow along. But it goes like this. What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? And they're like, what's the word? What's the word? What you heard? We gotta know, yeah, what's the word? Once again, y'all, it's your brother Avis, and we are back with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 3, Episode 15. And again, grateful for y'all coming in and sharing your time and being here when you could have been anywhere else. So thank y'all for coming in and watching. Also, shouts out to everyone that will be watching this now or later. Again, if you want to go check me out on YouTube at Avid Speaks. And that's where we're going to keep it there. But for tonight's show, we're going to be getting into, for episode 15, we're going to be talking about, of course, current events, so the news. So the news section is going to take about 15-20 minutes. So if you don't want to shout out, stay around for the news, come back in 20 minutes. Second, after the news, we're going to get into talking about birthdays. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how does being older bring more realizations? So, thank you to everybody that's up in here. I see you. All right, Brother Douglas, I see you in here, man. Peace and love, as well as chicken and beef. You just missed me singing it, so I'm not going to do it again. Unfortunate. You were so close. But yeah, brother, I already sang the song. We already sang the intro. But let's go ahead and let's jump in to these current events. So I have 5 news topics for y'all. And again, if y'all have any news or comments that you would like to share during this news portion, please put them down in the comments. I've only looked at a few articles, so I know there's so much more news going on, but if you have some, please share it. You know, it is so much news, so little time. Very true. And I'm limiting even more of that time just so we can have more conversation and reasonings and talks around the other 2 topics. But let's go ahead and let's get into the first news article, which the first news article that came in caught my eye was an article from CNN. And the headline reads, Nation's report card shows new evidence of COVID-19's devastating impact on U.S. children's education. And a lot of us logically can already be like, yes, having that time away from school and being inside of that house on quarantine had a huge impact on students and not only their learning and education, but their behaviors, their overall well-being. But let's see what this article got to say for us. Again, we read the articles, we go 3 paragraphs, and that's it, and you can have the rest. So with that, let's get into this article. 4th and 8th graders fell behind in reading and had the largest ever decline in math, according to the National Educational Assessment showing the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on America's children. So we talk about specifically America here. So yeah, if this is not a wake-up call for the department or for us to double down our efforts and improve education even before the pandemic, then I don't know what will. U.S. Secretary of Education, or I should say, U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona told CNN's Brianna Keller during an appearance on the New Day Monday. The alarming findings are based on the National Assessment of Educational Progress Reading and Math Exams, often called the Nation's Report Card, and conducted by the National Center for Education Statistics, a branch of the Education Department. So let me see if I can get some numbers real quick and then we out on this. So let's see. It said the average score in math of 236 for the 4th grade was 5 points lower than in 2019 and 8 points below the 2019 mark of 274 for 8th grade. The reading score, 217 for the 4th grade, was down 3 points, and then the same decline for 8th grade of 260 points. So I'm not gonna say I'm very well versed in this Nation's report card, but just knowing that it's showing the data that we're having a downward trend in education for students on an overall scape of the Nation's report card. But if you want to read more and learn more about this, again, go ahead, check out CNN, and the headline reads, Nation's report card shows new evidence of COVID-19's devastating impact on U.S. children's education. So that's that there for y'all for the first article. Now, before I jump into the second article, let's look into the comments, see what we got says. Big one is Rishi. I'm saying that terribly wrong, so don't get me. We'll say Rishi Sunak became first POC UK Prime Minister, first Asian, first Hindu, first Indian, also the youngest, actually the youngest in 200 years. All right. As well as Adidas dropped Ye, and he is suddenly no longer a billionaire. It took only one deal. It goes to show how precarious some billionaire status really is. It's very true. I haven't even got to look more into that. I try to stay far from a lot more of celebrity politic type of situations like that with celebrities. But yeah, it definitely goes to show you for sure how fickle those things are. But thank y'all for sharing that. Thank y'all for sharing the news and putting it down in the comments as well. Now let's jump back to more news that we got over here. So this next article comes from NBC. I always want to say CBS because you CBS, but NBC News. And the headline reads, St. Louis school shooter obtained a gun after his family worked with the police to have one removed from their home, officials say. So I'm not privy to what is this situation. So again, 3 paragraphs and we're out. Hopefully we get some details. So article reads, months before a 19-year-old shooter opened fire Monday inside a St. Louis high school, his family told police he had a gun and had it removed from their home, officials say Wednesday. The family was well aware the gunman had mental health struggles and did everything that they possibly could have done to help him, including getting him therapy and medication and committing him on several occasions. So 5150 taking him to the hospital. But sometimes that is not enough. Intern St. Louis Police Chief Michael Sachs said at a news conference. What's going on, Juice? Good to see you in here, G. What's the word? Police said that earlier this month, the gunman's mother found an AR-15 style rifle in the family's home and wanted it removed. While it is not clear when or how the suspect came to be in possession of the firearm after this incident, we can confirm that the firearm involved in the incident is the firearm that was used. At Central Visual and Performing Arts High School on Monday, police said in a statement Wednesday evening. So, again, I'm not going to read further into this article and the news, but if you want to learn more about another unfortunate shooting, this article comes from NBC News, and the headline reads, St. Louis shooter obtained a gun after his family worked with police to have one removed from their home, officials say. So, another one in the books of like 240 something shootings this year. So, it continues, unfortunately. Right. Let's go ahead and get into the next article. But let's see. Oh, yeah. I vaguely saw the St. Louis news and the IG news feed. Yeah. I just happened to see it while, of course, I was going on the CNN and all these other news outlets. But yes. All right. Next article, or I should just say the next thing I want to share. And I have to look more into it. And shout out to Kundan that sent me a bit of this. And I found just a video of it. But this article or this news report comes from Straight Arrow News. And the headline for this, because it's a video, I'm not going to play the video, but at least follow Straight Arrow News and you'll find this headline, which reads, New York City employees fired over COVID vaccines reinstated. So the gist of what I know, at least from looking at the video, is basically they returned all those folks during that time of the pandemic that were fired because of the fact that they did not want to get the vaccine, now are being reinstated specifically in New York. And basically the reading was that vaccines do not stop transmission, and they had to go to a court case to, again, overturn that and to show that was what it was positive. So now these folks are being able to get their jobs reinstated, which also will involve some back pay. So for those folks being out for a year or whatever, so they're going to get paid back what they owe for being there. But yeah, there's more on that. But again, I just watched the video. But if you want to look for the video, again, it comes from Straight Arrow News. And the title reads, New York City employees fired over COVID vaccines reinstated. I don't know if that means it's going to happen for California or any other place around in the U.S., but this at least sets the precedent for that. Right. On to the next article for y'all. And speaking of the vaccine, this next article comes from Verify, also under MSN I got. And the headline reads, yes, Pfizer is planning to increase the cost of its COVID-19 vaccine by as much as 400%. Yes, you heard it, 400% already. So I have no clue on why this is the case or what they're really truly trying to do with it. But let's figure this out. 3 paragraphs and we're out. Article reads, Pfizer is one of 2 companies offering an updated COVID-19 vaccine booster for the BA.5 Omicron subvariant this fall, since we're in multiple variants. This one we are still in Omicron, but the fifth installment of Omicron. The shots are currently paid for by the federal government and are available free of charge, so not for us to really worry too much about it, regardless of a person's health insurance status. Now, in late October, some people on social media are claiming that Pfizer is planning to raise the cost of its COVID-19 shots by 400%. They have a short thing where they say the answer to why this is a possibility is because Pfizer is planning to increase its cost by 400% once the federal government stops purchasing the doses. See, so supply and demand, y'all. Supply and demand. People with insurance will likely still be able to receive the vaccine for free. But yeah, that's mostly on that. If y'all want to read more into it again, this comes from Verify. And the headline reads, yes, Pfizer is planning to increase the cost of its COVID-19 vaccine by as much as 400%. Yeah. Again, and if y'all have any other news that you'd like to share, please put them down in the comments and share it along. Because again, it's always good for us to be informed on what's going on and what's happening around us, because it's important to be prepared. But let's see. It said, in midterms in 13 days. That is true. Let's do our due diligence on candidates in our area and vote if we can. For those who want, and that is the push, please make sure that you do your due diligence. Look up and research so you know everybody's stance on topics and issues and see if they align with yours. But do that. It said there are 12 female governor races. That's a new record. There's new records being shot everywhere every single day. And in politics, I am not surprised. But nice. All right. This last article I got for y'all, and then the other one, it will just be a reading of all the topics of different news topics y'all can find. But this next one comes from NPR, and it's a part of the climate issue. And the headline reads, greenhouse gases reach a new record as nations fall behind on climate pledges. Once again, greenhouse gases reach a new record as nations fall behind on climate pledges. So I know almost months ago, we talked about how there was a new record for greenhouse gases and how much of an impact it was having on the environment. And then there was codes that were put into, again, addressing these gases. But let's see. There's more. 3 paragraphs and we out. So from Geneva, article reads, the 3 main greenhouse gases hit record high levels in the atmosphere last year, the UN Weather Agency said Wednesday, calling it an ominous sign as war in Ukraine, costs of food and fuel, and others' worries have elbowed in on the long time concern about global warming in recent months. More bad news for the planet, the World Meteorologist Organization said in a statement along with its latest annual greenhouse gas bulletin. It's one of several reports released in recent days looking at the several aspects of humanity's struggles with climate change in the run-up of the UN's latest climate conference in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. I might have butchered that, but y'all also miss me not being able to pronounce things right. But of the three main types of heat-trapping greenhouse gases, which we have carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, the biggest jump from 2020 to 2021 was in methane, which concentrations in the air came in with the biggest year-on-year increase since the measurement before 4 decades ago, WMO said. So that was, again, the World Meteorologist Organization. Now, I'm not going to talk all the specifics, but yeah, there's been a jump in those three, but specifically methane. And some folks know that also livestock and a lot of farming have also added to this greenhouse gases and the global change. But if you want to read more, go to NPR and look for this headline, which reads, "Greenhouse gases reach a new record as nations fall behind on climate pledges." But yeah. Now, all I'm going to do now is just read some headlines to y'all from NPR, and there's so many more. Again, you go check out the news, but the main point is please make sure you're staying informed of what's going on around you when it comes to news reporting and information. But let's see. Before we do that, it says, and it seems Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter back on track as he visited Twitter HQ, and banks sent him another $13 billion after he was backing out a few months ago. Okay, looks like the revival of a Twitter takeover. We'll see. We'll see as it continues. Right, few headlines we got again. If you want to see NPR.com, boom, you go. No, NPR.org. Sorry, it's an organization. NPR.org. So I'm gonna read some headlines and then we're done. So one of them, funeral homes could soon have to post their prices online. It's very interesting. Ohio and Pennsylvania voters aren't reading from their assigned scripts. I don't know what it means by their assigned scripts, but they're not reading from it. Another one, a second railroad union votes down Biden's tentative agreement. Not too sure that the three men are convicted of the support of a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The look at salaries of 2 LA City Council members involved in racist conversation. And another one I have right here. Wisconsin man is convicted of killing six with a SUV. Sorry, I said USV. A SUV in a Christmas parade. And there's more and more and more to circle and continue to go around. But if you want to look into news, again, go check out these places, check out these articles, stay informed, stay prepared, and plan this stuff out so you can know what's going on around you, because what's the word? But yeah, what's going on, nephew? Good to see you in here, man. Peace and love, man. Well, boy, P3, what's good, my G? What's good, G? What's good? What's good? Right. Those are all of the articles for tonight, all the news. But again, if y'all have more that you want to share, please put them down in the comments as we continue through the show. If y'all have stuff to share, thank y'all. Please do. Now, I got to give a disclaimer before we get to the next topic. But this is the disclaimer. Just know that this is going to be shared on Instagram and YouTube. If you're not comfortable coming on and sharing your thoughts and perspectives, knowing that this is going to be up, then it is fine. You can stay in the comments. But if you are comfortable coming on and making and seeing yourself and being on here and having conversations with me and everyone else, just know that it will be up and you waive your rights, which that means it can be shared. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the next topic, which the next topic is about birthdays. Now you're like, okay, what are you talking about when we mean about birthdays? We're going to talk about birthdays in general. It's depending on where and how we want to speak on it. But I'm going to speak on my ideas of birthdays. What are they for? What do they represent? And then for me personally, what it really truly represents. And I have to shout out Prince on some of the representation as well. But before I do that, of course, I got to give y'all definitions. Of course, we know what a birthday is, but at the same time, still going to give out a definition. So, via Webster, a birthday, it's a noun. And birthday definition, there's 3 of them. First one says the day of a person's birth. So that day that you were born, of course, that you came out and you're into the world. The second one, a day of origin. So that's the origin of your origin story of coming into this world. And then the last one, which is an anniversary of a birth, which is an annual year where you go around the sun 365 or 64, however you want to count it, and you're back at a place that now you've grown a year older, quote unquote, coming into this world. So that's a birthday, at least definition wise. All of it now. What's going on, KZ? I see you in here, man. Peace and love, brother. Good to see you in here. But let's see. Kundan says, FB, Facebook, parent company Meta, revenue declined 2nd quarter in a row. I wonder what it means for any algorithm changes. That is a very, very interesting observation. It might be a lot. We don't know. Because, again, there's still so much of a spike in change in cryptocurrencies and the stock market and all these areas. So, at the end of the day, follow the money. See where that's going. And once you start seeing the funneling and changing of where money is going, you'll see how algorithms and programs are changed. But we will see. But okay. Getting back to the whole birthday thing. So, we already got it. So, it's either the day the person's born, you got the origin of that day, as well as the anniversary. So, for me, when I think of a birthday before, shouts out to Prince, I always, of course, thought of the birthday of the first one being the day of a person's birth, and also an anniversary of you celebrating that each year you go around, you come back. That's what I think of a birthday is. Now, my perspectives on birthdays have changed due to seeing and hearing the perspective from Prince on how he spoke about birthdays. So my perspective now, if you want to go, you can look it up on YouTube and you can just type in Prince speaks about birthdays. And literally it's a real short clip. But ultimately what Prince was talking about when he said about a birthday is that everybody just has one birthday. So when they say happy birthday to him, is more so it's like, I've already been born. So there's no need for, again, for like, in this particular case to say, you know, happy birthday. I get it as in a celebration, but in the sense of you've only been birthed once. You can't be birthed again. Even if you want to use it in a philosophical or religious sense that you've been born again in that other area, but that does not include your birthday, being born again. So that's how I see it now. And I've really had that attitude really much as a kid, is that it's just another day. I usually use it as a moment to thank my mom, my grandmother, and all my ancestors before me that was able to get me here. So I usually remind myself on that day to be grateful, not only to be alive, but also that those who came before me were able to get me here, and always got to give love to them. So I still treat it as it's just a regular day, and I'm already been born. It's already been my birthday, and I'm going to keep living. I'm going to keep learning, and I'm going to just keep pushing. So that's my perspective on changing a birthday. But now, how does that look for other people? Again, yeah, they say, yeah, it's just a birth anniversary, like a wedding anniversary. Yeah, again, you don't repeat these things unless for wedding anniversaries and other anniversaries of that sorts. You can renew your vows for weddings or an anniversary of you riding your bike. The first time learning how to ride your bike, you can always ride that bike again. But in a sense of you being physically born, you cannot do that again. At least from what I know. This is like, you can't be born again. So that's why it's just a remembrance in that particular case. But the other addition that Prince said on top of not really celebrating birthdays all the time like that is not as the reminder of not getting closer to death, but that you're getting older. And y'all know the brain is a powerful thing. And the more that you give it thoughts, you give it ideas of something's happening, is going on, it's going to respond and give you what you want. So when we start talking about, oh, we're reaching the 20s and then we're getting now into your 30s and your late 40s, and you got people saying, oh, you old now. And it starts to get into your mind, and it starts to affect also your body and your whole makeup in that particular way. Is that it's the mindset. So for me, when I think of the birthdays too, I think of that mindset gets planted into you. It's like, now I become older. And in a sense, it's just that you're more experienced. You had more time on this earth, and you've only been born once, and that's where that stays. In my particular case, I'm on the first. So I'm on the first of a day. So I already had my first birthday on the first of the day. So I'm always reminded it was already one. It's done. One and done. That's it. They say, yeah, at least not in the body, but in a different body if you believe in reincarnation. Yeah, but that's definitely a whole nother realm of, thought and belief, or I would say tradition, all of that philosophy. It continues on, because I definitely do subscribe to that idea of reincarnation. But I think of it in a sense of when it's talking about for birthday, I'm talking this time and this day in this realm, not more so you're now going through another life. Because if we're going to say that, then we've had multiple birthdays, because our souls have reincarnated in various different ways. That's why there's a such thing of a saying is that you have an old soul. There's some newer souls that are here and that's been born and they're brought back and they've had this experience before. That's why we have the deja vu phenomenon. You have folks talking about when they're having the near-death experiences, they're able to recollect what's happened in past lives. All of that runs into this whole funnel of things. And the interesting thing that I want to jump into next about birthdays too is a lot of this too is also tied to not only astrology, but also tied to astronomy when it comes to the star, the sun, the moons, all your different signs and all of this here. That's where some of this birthday information also lines up in particular too. And I do not, again, subscribe to a lot of what's said in astrology, in astronomy, especially a lot of new age things, because it's really misunderstood and used improperly. But there's some stuff that will make sense on the day that you were born, what type of alignments actually work with you, different signs that connect for you, and why you have an affinity for music, you have an affinity for teaching, you have affinity for working with your hands, or any different type of skill can pinpoint to when you were born on that birthday, on that day you was born. Some people like to say solar return. I am one of those people. I would interchangeably use happy born day, happy solar return, all of that. Yeah, said. What about brain development and age differences in dating then? I don't think there's anything wrong with a 47-year-old dating a 30-year-old, but what about a 37-year-old dating a 20-year-old? Now, that's the other thing I would love to learn more about, because there's always studies being conducted about how we talk about our brain hasn't fully formatted, especially until we pass about 25, 27, that our frontal lobe hasn't fully developed, and that we're still technically, again, immature, at least brain development wise. So all the choices and stuff that we're making in between our teenage years to our mid 20s to then early 30s to us, then we're finally adults. I question a lot of that because there's so much information that swirls around it, as well as the idea of women maturing faster than men, when in certain senses they do when it comes by biologically. But again, all the mental stuff, because the mind has been so hard to explain, as well as the brain, because there's always something changing about it, because that's why the brain and the mind is such a powerful thing. It has this ability, neuroplasticity. It has the ability to change and morph and mold itself into whatever you're able to put and think about, as well as work it out. Because again, the brain is also a muscle, so it can always change and always morph. So from my perspective, it really comes down to, if you're going to date in that particular realm when it comes to brain and age development, along with the laws and your own ethics around dating, either one of those setups, it could be valid, it could work. But would that be something I would look into doing? No, because then I would know about how a 20-year-old is acting. They've, again, barely experienced much of anything. Some have experienced more than a lot of us have, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put myself in a certain situation unless, again, the intention was you really scouting people out. I think that's what we have missed out on a lot too, not just with understanding birthdays and information, but being able to vet people and really know if people are who they say they are, they stand for what they also say that they stand for, and they are truly close to the behavior that they show. But a lot of us, I'm not going to say a lot of us, we tend to forget to vet those people, and we do it in a trusting fashion of, okay, we're right here. You like this, I like this. Okay, we connect, without digging deeper to build on that relationship that you already have, and just never to go back and do any type of maintenance and just like, okay, nah, he thinks the same thing, she thinks the same thing, they all think the same thing that I'm thinking, so we're good, which not necessarily is the case. They said, then there's a difference between tropical Western astrology versus sidereal Vedic astrology. Exactly. There's too many amalgamations. Yes, I'm using big words today because I feel like it, but there's too many mixtures of various perspectives all over here, and it gets so confusing to a point of, okay, what are we supposed to look into? And that's where people go back to how they feel about stuff, which sometimes can be a positive or strong thing, and then sometimes it could also be a detrimental thing. So you have to be careful what you're choosing. But yeah, it says, actor Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, yes, breaks up with women the moment she turns 25, for example. He is 50 now. Yeah. That in that particular case, you have already, the age limit is already past 21. So technically they're an adult. I mean 18, but again, technically they're adult. There's no laws against it. And during that time too, again, there is the biological differences between men and women, particularly when we talk about heterosexual men and women, that for some men, age and beauty are the most important things, especially if they're trying to build a family. If you're not trying to build a family and you're just trying to live the bachelor lifestyle for however long you want to live it, or the bachelor lifestyle however you want to live it, you're going to have these types of situations happen. And in his case, it's because of the fact that literally there's another woman that's going to be younger that's going to be able to compete with her, because it's like, it's terrible to say, but it's like used products after a while. I know it's terrible to say, but that's just how it goes. Things that get older and age over time don't go up in value unless it's wine. Wine is a whole different subject, but anything in the market that we have that ages over time with all of the use is a product, again, that can't be sold at the same price as a brand new product. And if it is, then you've been bamboozled. But in his particular case, it's because he, and this is from my outside opinion or perspective on it, is that he values age and beauty. So once you hit that particular age, you're on your way to, the beauty declining, which is going to happen over time. It's going to happen with me, happen with all of y'all. But the more that you keep up on your body and improve on yourself, you'll be able to maintain it, and you'll be able to still look as good as you are at your current age. But I'm not going to look like the same person I look at 20 come 40. Look, I don't even look the same at 20 where I'm about to be now, which is almost about to be 30, but that's going to be next year. I don't look the same. I may have some similar facial structures, but not the same. But that's that whole setup there, which, again, going back into birthdays, it, to me, just continues just to be a reminder that, yes, you're here on this earth, but me going into the perspective of not saying I'm not growing older, but not to let it encase my brain, because, again, you let it influence you, then it starts to have an impact on how you see and look at yourself, and you wonder why, after a while, you aged so quickly. Or people are like, oh, man, you look like you aged so quick. How old are you? And be like, oh, man, I'm only 31. Like, wow, you look like you are 45. Like, what happened? And it's due to the fact that, again, the idea and the perspective of, oh, I got older. I'm super older. But there's a way for you to age in a beautiful way or age in a very respectable way. And I'm seeing it from that side. But birthdays overall are definitely a time to reflect, a time of reflection, as well as is a time to be grateful for you being here for another go round at this crazy existence that we're in. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this is going to be that existence until, of course, you change and go over to whatever the next life has for you. What's good? Sabir, I see you in here, man. Peace and love to you, brother. Man, good to see you. Leah says, yeah, it's legal, but it's just fishy and very weird. Again, to each his own and for their reasons alone. Bars. That's literally, you can fuck them, man. You can call it, you can speculate however, but at that point, for me, again, he ain't doing nothing for my life, so I personally do not care if it's hurting somebody or if you're hurting someone. That's a whole nother different story, but I ain't gonna even stress it. It's just an observation. It's one of those outliers that are there. What's going on? Alien Space Queen in the building, a.k.a. Crisss. Good to see you. What's the word? We talking about birthdays right now. We talking about mamas. I'm just playing. We talking about birthdays. Where we at? We talking about birthdays. Again, if y'all want to come in and join and have the conversation and reasoning and talk with me, please do jump in here. You're more than welcome to. Again, just know that it does go on Instagram and YouTube after. If you're not comfortable, man, then the chat's for you. You can chill. Let us know how you doing and how you feel about the topic as well. Because as much as I love talking to a screen, man, I love talking to y'all. That's the only reason why I come on, honestly. And I'll be truthful. I really come on now for What's the Word, just so I can interact with y'all. Because if it was up to me, I probably would just be chilling. Be truthful. I wouldn't even be on here. But thank you to y'all. Hopefully it works, because Instagram and its
Are we
algorithms
really
and its
talking about
updates and changes
birthdays?
all over the
Hey,
place.
That
what's
I
up?
look up.
Yes, we're talking about birthdays. What's
Talking
going
about
on?
birthdays.
Peace and love to Crisss
Hey,
and
What's
Kundan.
Kundan.
What's
up?
the word, y'all?
Hey,
I love birthdays. Mine is coming up.
All right.
yay.
Okay, then give us all right, give us some stuff. I've been talking about my perspective on how I look at birthdays and just it being just one day that happened in the past. Shouts out to Prince. But we're just going all over with it.
Go
But go
ahead.
ahead.
Where do I begin? You're not talking about
Yes.
astrology. You're just talking about birthdays.
You did mention astrology for a little
I
bit,
told
yeah.
him, yeah. I didn't mention astrology, but of course I didn't go and pull out the book and be like, okay, so when is everybody's birthday? All right, let me see. No, but I did mention astrology when it came to birthdays, and how also Kundan talked about there's so many different other ones, Vedic, and then you also have your side real. And I'm just like, okay, where do we have our frame of reference then?
Yeah, there's also Burmese astrology and Mayan astrology and even African astrology as well. Like,
again, where do we have our frame of reference? One person can say one thing, you can be a Taurus. The other person can say you end up being a Capricorn, and the other person say you end up being this. So,
well, that's why you have to look at the whole chart. That's why I don't even believe in the whole, the horoscope astrology that you see in the weekly newspaper. That's very basic and generalized. And it's so general. It could be true for anyone. That's why it sounds true for you, because it's so very way vague. Those horoscopes. Yeah.
Yes, because it's to me. Look at I put it to equivalent of how a medium, especially other types of mediums and folks, use those types of words and suggestions to make you think that they know that there's things going on in your life, but it's very, very open-ended questions that you can just give the answers to. So they can talk about, you can be like, oh yeah, so I remember you've had a father in, the past recent years, and then a person be like, yeah, my father was just with me and then he just passed away. And it's like, yeah, so and it's like, as they're giving those open-ended questions, they're getting information to them to try to read further into where now it's putting a cast of a spell over people, thinking that, oh, this person really knows what they're talking about, but it's just their line of questioning helps them to draw information out at the same time.
Mentalism, that's the term for it. A lot of mediumship is just mentalism, where it's like guesstimating, but in a very smart, cunning way. It's so that it sounds accurate.
Yep. Shouts out to Soul on Fire. Peace and love. Peace and love. I see you. But Crisss, go ahead.
I feel like we're so far removed from the origin and the truth. Everything has now become commercial, and it's been on track. It's been that way, the modern world. Anything you put
Kimberly.
Tag on,
yes.
Commercial. Watered down.
Yes.
Origin. Well, yeah, the whole argument that's the commercial aspect. That's the aspect.
Yeah.
I think the music is a little. Oh, now it's better. Yeah.
There are people who have gifts and who are right on the money, right on like those experiences. They'll walk up to you and not even ask you. Am I buzzing?
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good now. At first, you were going in and out.
Oh yeah, I heard buzzing on my end, so I was like, "Uh-oh, technical difficulties again." No, but there are some people who are in tune, and there are gifted people out there who just will know things about you, and it's not an open-ended question. Like, you may encounter someone who may just say just the right thing that's on the same frequency. You know what I mean? And it's just unexplainable, so you can't rule it. I guess you can't necessarily rule it out as oh, it's just a coincidence, or it's just this. No, some things are, I don't know, some things are in tune. They ride the same wave. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
No, I just gave it as an example. It's where we can speak to we speak more to the general versus the exception, because there's always going to be that exception. Because again, Crisss, if we get more into, don't forget indigenous and a lot of other tribes and other communities, they had their spiritual folks, they had their witch doctors and people who were already well versed in those things, and I honestly will say at this point right now, from my perspective, we're in the age where we have all the information we can have, but I know back then they were still more knowledgeable and more in tune than we are now.
Too much information, and we're drowning in information but very little wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to go back to your point too, Kundan, I also wrote down. I have a song that sometimes I perform for folks, but literally it's a point where I talked about that same thing, and I think Chris was saying it too. I said, now fast track, I'm fed up. We merged with the meta, connected with 5G data interfaces, retail minded, because all we do is buy from places. We commodify every idea, nothing sacred. And it literally, everything's exposed. Like when we fall on that latest trend and we see that, again, all these yoga instructors not really even knowing the beginning basics or the roots back to where it is, and a lot of it being either whitewashed or just being westernized so much to a point that it's just becoming a trend that, I can start buying this on, and you start to culturally appropriate people's things and start because of the fact that, everybody's doing it right now. Let me jump on it without really going back to the roots and the history about it. So that was my point too with the medium, because most of the people that we see on there is people trying to do this quick witch. Even what's it called?
Miss
Cleo. Miss Cleo. When she was over there on all those telecommercials, some of those people on there. You even have like your with the pastors and all of the spiritual deacons going on TV talking about they'll do a prayer for you and stuff for like $5.99 or something. And it's like,
whenever you can commoditize it, it's furthest away from its origin. It's all a performance.
Yes.
Because you perform to get money. Everything to get money, you have to perform. You have to prove to someone that they should give you their money. It's all performance with everything.
So if you're in your birthday suit, you're gonna get some money too.
Yeah, and also OnlyFans. We got OnlyFans now.
You thought you got me.
We don't even need the overhead of the strip club anymore. We have OnlyFans.
No.
Right? No.
Honestly, for me, even the emergence of pornography online and how accessible all of that stuff is. I mean, literally, you can, again, I'm not saying to go do these things. That's all on y'all's own tuition. Y'all are adults, okay? You're past, hopefully y'all are past, like, the teens and you're in your 20s and wherever else, okay? So you go do what you do with your own spare time, okay?
In 2 months. 2 months?
That's right.
That's quality versus quantity, right? Like a lot of the free stuff is from the male gaze, right?
Yeah.
And then in recent years, there's the emergence of women-centered porn that are made by women directors and owned and
that stuff is
operated by women that are coming up. Yeah.
It's better. It's more sensual.
Exactly. Yeah.
The storylines are better.
Since now we're into the side about the birthday suits right now, not about birthday. So anything surrounding that, But shout outs to Kim. I know I was just being extra. I'm gonna play with words. I'm gonna play with words. It says the gifts you get are free, but all of a sudden there's a price tag added.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Birthday cards. Even there's even cards for people grieving. For funerals, like any little thing you can think of, they're gonna find some way for it. I saw there was literally a tool for folks. No, like the little arm grabbers that you got you can put on the side and stuff too. For some folks, literally, it's just so they did not want to get up wherever they are at, and they could just pick up and use that just so they have an extended arm. I'm not saying.
Love my tools.
I'm just saying you think of all of the stuff.
I love it.
But you think of all the advances and new ideas for just products and all this stuff. Like, I know I'm putting this up, but it's an instrument. But like any little small thing you think of, people like, oh man, something that used to really inconvenience you, people start to think more of like, okay, how can I actually commodify this and figure it out? Oh man, don't you hate when literally you can't touch your screen and you're so cold in your fingers with your hands? All right, let's go ahead and let's end up putting on little prints on your fingers so you can both still have your hands warm and you can still touch on your phone.
Where's that at?
So, like, little things of that sort.
Oh, gloves.
Yeah, there's gloves. You can get gloves that literally have...
Oh, that's a good stuff.
Do I have to say the specific words? What else y'all think I was thinking of?
And then where can I get it?
That's something that might
like
actually be worth getting.
The Snuggie.
Exactly.
I'm just giving examples. I'm saying not they're terrible, but I'm saying as in the whole idea of like things that do inconvenience people come up with ideas for them. And again, that's about problem solution. In this particular case with, you know, birthdays and commodifying all this other different stuff, it's that we've brought into the idea of that the way that we show love to people and that we show that we there
and we celebrate their birthday. Yeah, I'm a big birthday person. I love celebrating everybody's birthday, not just my own. I do go hard for my birthdays, but that's just because I'm me. If I'm not going to do it for me, who's going to do it for me, right? So, but I also like I love just everybody's birthdays. You tell me it's your birthday, I get excited. I'm like, yeah, let's celebrate you.
It's a great anniversary. The biggest way
I can show appreciation, my gratitude that you're here. It's like, yeah, that's the best day because that gave me you. You know, I don't know. I get all excited. Yeah.
Again, to each his own. There is no wrong on this. That's why I literally wanted to share this because for me, I'm with Prince. Like I've only been born once, and literally that was just that day. But when I'm here, it's the day.
Yeah, I mean, I get where he's coming from, but I never saw birthday as the day I was born. I always saw it as a birth anniversary, just like a marriage anniversary, or even a first date anniversary, right? We know the first date happened only once, but some couples still celebrate, you know, not only the anniversary of, you know, the day they decided to be the first date as well.
Oh yeah. No, again, I can be, you know, butchering the whole idea. That's why I say there is the YouTube of it. You can look it up, but for me, it was more of the mindset of some folks get into after they hit a certain age.
What's happening to my screen, though?
Oh no, you're frozen, Kundan.
Okay, I'll leave. And come
no, we chilling.
Back. Yeah.
Okay. And shouts out to Kimberly again. She said they're taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities. Yes,
promoting it.
They are, and they are promoting a lazy generation of
or. The lazy people are just finding the tools that are not meant for them and exploiting it. I'm just saying.
So working smarter and not harder.
Maybe. But you guys stay away from my arm. Stay away from my arm grabber. I need that. That's for people like me.
That's why you got Life Alert. Like you got all these other different
the grocery stores with the Zamboni component. Like,
yeah. Nothing wrong with celebrating the day you were born, unless.
Oh yeah, they don't celebrate birthdays. Yeah, I was dating a dude who was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kim, I agree. Again, that was just a thing that switched in her mind because I noticed after you start to hit a certain age, and to me, it's still a fairly young age. People's mindsets have changed from now. I'm extremely old.
He Jehovah's Witness?
And even if it's not to that extreme, but
Prince?
Yeah, who?
Or was it the Jacksons?
I should probably ask my mom because my mom knows all of this stuff. I'm coming just to America to steal your arm grabber.
Oh no!
Yeah, I get excited even on Wednesday.
Yes,
she's gonna take my arm grabber.
She said you can just buy another one. All right, look at Kim. This is what we can do. let's do a trade. We'll trade you the arm grabber for a copy of your book.
Okay. I do want that book. So yes, I'm willing to give up the arm grabber for the book. That is
We can do that.
Yep.
Sirocco, Shaman, good to see you in here.
That's hilarious.
It's Michelle Boo, if I'm saying this right. If I'm butchering people's names,
is it Michi Boo?
That's what some people came for.
Yeah, I think that's one of my followers.
Yeah. My first prime. Hilarious. But yeah, birthdays and overall now, it's still always a joyous thing because, again, you get to be reminded of not only the day that you hear, but I referenced it earlier, Chris, to also the idea of a day of just like gratitude for those who came before me. That's how I see it. I really don't think too much of myself. Like, I'm grateful that I'm here, but like, I think more so of like, yeah, if it wasn't for my mom, my dad, my grandma, the whole lineage to learn of that, I wouldn't be here. So I'm grateful for them being able to do what they have done for me to even make it to this plane of existence. That's how I see it.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I'm selfish. It's all about me. It's my day. I've met like 4 people with the same birthday as me, and I'm like, no, it's my day.
Let's see. So you said
January
November,
2nd.
December,
Remember
so
Earth Gang? Rocking that green.
Yeah.
You're always wearing green.
My
too.
friend.
Yeah.
One,
You're always wearing
a
green.
tree has like a...
It's always the hat. The hat bills under it, they happen to be green. These are from people I'm supporting, so I guess they like green bills.
You gravitate towards
dollar bills. Throw those dollar bills for those birthday suits,
just
right?
Just like a tourist to say that.
Oh my goodness. You don't even know if I'm truly a Taurus. I could be another one because of that other 13th astrology sign that was added a while back.
I do want to read your chart, though. I do want to read your chart so badly. I need to know your moon
actually,
and your
in
Mars.
Vedic astrology, it might be like one sign off. Oh, actually, we don't even take the sun sign as the main thing.
It's not the main.
We see the rising and the moon as the main thing in Vedic astrology. Like,
exactly. That's what I'm reading up on right now. Yes.
Rising is the primary, and then secondary is the moon, and the moon is more about like if you want to see like the emotional side of yourself or even of the week that's coming up, then we look at the moon chart rather than the rising chart. But for the overall, like we look at the rising. Like in Vedic astrology, my rising is actually Capricorn. So I see myself as
of course.
So now I see myself as a Capricorn native rather than a Gemini native, like because I'm a Gemini sun sign in the regular astrology, in Western astrology, and then, but also my rising in the Western astrology is Aquarius. So again, it's one sign off, right?
Hey,
then,
now.
Yeah.
Kundan. We're right here. In Western, my rising is Aquarius. Yeah, and my sun is Capricorn. So,
there you go. Yeah.
And my 10th house is... The 10th house is the descendant. So I'm actually learning about the houses right now, which make a lot more sense in certain areas and aspects of your life. So right now I'm learning the first first 4 houses. So that's your ascendant, the house of family and values, the house of how you use money. Why are you laughing and shaking your head?
Because I'm like literally floating away and I'm like, oh yeah, so how's your neighbors doing since you've been making it to these houses? That's why I was in my head like that.
Oh my
God. Before I let you continue, it's again, it says Chrissy and I will be celebrating 30 this year. What a blessing. Before COVID, people didn't appreciate most of these little things till now. So shouts out again to you, Kimberly, and early birthdays to both of y'all.
I'm excited.
Understand? Yeah.
But yeah, continue with all your family
My
value
family
houses and your
values.
ascendants and
My family
descendants.
values.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, because it has to do with the chart, and that's what Kundan was talking about. Like, you have to look at it as a whole. Like, you have to look at the whole chart. It's not as like Western ideology
and when
has
it's
simplified
holistic,
it.
it's not even about what each planet is doing, but what each planet is doing with other planets and how they're
Exactly.
interacting. That is also important. So that's why, like, you have to look at it relationally as well, in terms of looking at the whole chart. It's not just about, oh, this sign is in this planet and this house. No, it's also about, okay, how are they interacting with each other? Like,
right, exactly. The conflict, because like my first three are at conflict with each other. Because if we go based off of Western astrology, I have that Aquarius rising, I have a Capricorn sun, and then I have an Aries moon. Like, all of those things, like, you would think like those do not mix. In terms of like Aries, we think of like passion, we think of aggression or passion. I use them interchangeably. You know, you think of Capricorn, you think of stubbornness, you think of self-centeredness, and then you think of Aquarius, you think of like aloof, kind of like revolutionary, like like for the people kind of like energies and how they interact. You would think like, wow, that's a mess. Like like they don't seem to go hand in hand, quite frankly, you know, where other people may have some energies that do go hand in hand. And you know, you can kind of you those are the people where you're like, I can't quite put my finger on who you are, because you're kind of like together. Like, you know, there are no differences that stand out. You're kind of just flowing. You know what I mean? So,
and what is that curiosity to know about why that person or those people, just you can't figure them out?
Not in terms of like, I can't figure you out like as a person, but I wouldn't be able to off the bat guess what sign you are. You know what and that's again what makes it a pseudoscience, is because you can test and test and test and test and test, and you'll never get like a consistent. You won't get a consistent, like, it just. Yeah, you can't. There's no consistency. There's no data that is like, like we can prove that this is that. Like, it's too nuanced. Like, every piece matters, but every piece plays a specific role into your personality, into your thought processes, into your actions, into so your behavior, if you will. Like, Mars rules behavior. You know, that's a planet, right? And then it gets a little complex because each planet has a zodiac attached to it. Each planet is ruled by a zodiac, but the zodiacs are not necessarily ruled by the planets. And then you can have houses that have zodiacs in it but don't have planets in it, or you can have a house that has a planet in it. You know what I mean? And these, you got to take these all into account. You can have empty houses.
Like, an example of that would be like, there are these memes going around that are supposedly to debunk astrology, but they're not really debunking it. It's just that they're not looking at the whole chart. So there are these memes going around saying, like, for example, I'm just putting on a random name, like two like totally opposite people, like Ted Bundy, for example, right? Or even Jeffrey Dahmer, or whoever, serial killer, Unabomber, versus somebody like Mother Teresa or Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. Like, they might have the exact same sun sign, and people are like, "Oh, how can that be?" Well, because you're not looking at the whole chart. You're just looking at one tiny little piece, like,
to the whole puzzle.
Yeah,
you have 12 houses.
And then that goes to also say, that's why when people say, "Oh, I share the same birthday as Malcolm X or Harriet Tubman," it's like, but you ain't got none of that type of energy.
Because their behavior, their actions, their thoughts, like, their houses may hold different planets, may hold different zodiacs. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, overall birthdays, they're definitely cool. But yeah, to each his own. To each his own. I know I'm so nonchalant. I'm nonchalant with it. That's just me. That's just me. Again, I've just taken on that to be again another day to be alive for me personally. But yeah, it seems boring. I tell people all the time. I tell everybody. No, I'm saying it's boring. I'm talking about as in I'm boring. That's why. I'm not the type to go get hyped and be like, "Oh, it's my birthday!" Like, nah, I'm not. Like, it's just like cool. It's another day. Like, I appreciate the love.
Silly to say.
Like, yeah,
I have something silly to say.
The next day.
You ready?
Of course, we're being silly.
You ready?
Go for it.
I know you're a Taurus through and through because 1, you just called yourself boring, and 2, you love your snacks. You love your snacks, your banana chips. Yeah, your banana
snacks?
Chips. Not today.
I don't have banana chips. No, I haven't even eaten those in months.
You don't eat them?
Yeah, I don't eat the banana chips.
You used to tear some snacks up.
Yeah, nah. After I started taking Kundan's advice from the book about being able to stop disease, like I've been going to sleep early and been making sure I don't be snacking.
Oh, right. Even the show you started earlier. So you used to start the show very late, at 8 p.m. Now you started an hour earlier.
At 7. Well, it's 11 out here, so I'm just up.
Yeah, you just here with us.
I saw the announcement.
Gemini Fox Poultry. There it is. I saw
the announcement, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to stay up tonight."
Oh yeah, but don't worry. Next Wednesday, you're not gonna have to stay up. You're good. Yeah, I do it every other Wednesday to give not only myself a break.
This is my tear.
Yeah, just to give.
From my eye.
Yeah.
I was crying.
What? Oh my goodness! just eat your wings on a Wednesday. The Wednesday might fall on your birthday, so you can eat some wings on your birthday.
I had wings yesterday, though. I know.
There's no Wing Tuesdays.
I knew I should have saved them for today.
What's the Wings Wednesday? Wings Wednesday. Taco Tuesday.
There's Taco Tuesday.
I had tacos.
Yeah.
I had mini tacos, and I had leftover wings from Monday, actually. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So at this point right now, y'all, we're talking about how birthdays have celebrations. So there's also food at those birthdays.
There you go.
So that's what we're speaking on right now. So if your birthday falls on a Tuesday, you should get you some tacos for that Tuesday. If you need some tacos, just let me know. If y'all need some tacos on a Tuesday, we got taco people that will show up to your house.
Not me, because I'm all the way on the East Coast. Can't make tacos no more.
This man, look, I'm going to get on this man right now. You better have earphones in, because I'm not trying to hear the sound of the universe with all of that background noise. Please put your earphones in. His birthday passed. It was this month.
It was October?
I'll let him tell you.
Today's my birthday.
Is he coming in?
Yes,
today's your birthday?
Remember? It's a Wednesday.
Happy birthday to me. Dallas. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all.
Wait, is it your birthday too?
Bro, why are we looking at a sink? Why are we looking at the little dispenser place where you put all your stuff?
It is a closet. See, that's why you gotta have a woman in your life, man.
I didn't stay in no closet, okay?
All that mix towel, hey, look, all that mix towel, all that MTWG.
I didn't understand what that meant at all.
Out of here. That's not even the topic for today, so get yourself out of here.
But see, I'm saying that because women know.
We just know. I'll take that. I'll take it as a compliment.
What's going on, FaZe? Good to see you in here, brother.
FaZe.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Nah, I appreciate y'all though. Yeah, my birthday was like
It was like.
Was it last week?
On the 20th, on the 19th.
It was on the
Wait, you forgot the birthday?
You
You
don't
know
know your
your
own
own
birthday?
birthday.
You forgot your
Huh?
birthday?
Yeah. Gemini Fox, thank you for following. Appreciate you. Yeah,
Hey,
it was on the 20th.
Oh, the 20th. Yeah.
appreciate you for
Happy
not saying it
belated
at first,
birthday.
G dog.
You know I got you.
I'm already know. Now I'm in the kitchen though. What's happening with y'all, man? What's happening? We up here in the kitchen, you feel me?
Why do
We
you
up
always
here,
have a
man. I just got back.
pose?
Huh?
That's him. That's him and Notes. Him and Notes always got to come in with some type of fashion pose or do something to let y'all know that they in the building when we're on the
Yo,
phone.
first, hey, hold on. First of all, I always
Yes.
been like this. You feel me? Like I just came in from the store though. Like I ain't even know. This ain't really nothing special. I just
Now with you rubbing
Huh?
your face. Oh my god.
And this is the intermission section of What's the Word Wednesdays for y'all. Okay,
We're a
we
cooking
over here
show with
watching
Dallas.
as Dallas makes his
He's making
way
Wait,
cereal.
to the kitchen
you're making
and
cereal?
walks
You
down.
guys
Yeah,
smacking
is that
cereal
Frosted
now?
Flakes?
nah.
It's not.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
It's literally Charlie and the Chocolate Factory right now. What is happening,
I
Faith?
don't know
I'm trying
what's
to figure out the
happening.
same thing right now. We was on a roll about birthdays, and then we got hyped because we had a birthday that passed, and then we had Chris over here hyped about that birthday, and then
Hey,
Dallas arrived.
that's God talking right there. Boy, I always show up. Hey, show up on God's time, bro. Y'all talking about
How
birthday on
dare
my
you give me a
birthday?
birthday gift on my birthday at my birthday party?
Yeah.
Wait, say that one
You've
more
never seen
time.
that sketch of Murder Squad, Tyler the Creator? Oh,
No, I
he
don't
was
think I
pretending to be
have.
the housewives. It's like she came to my birthday with a birthday gift.
Okay.
She came to my birthday
And
on
then
a
we're having
birthday
a
gift.
commercial break for
But you
cereal.
want,
What
hey,
brand is that?
hold on. Before I show this, I don't sponsor them. They don't pay me none of that. You feel me?
This What's the Word Wednesdays is not sponsored by Raisin Bran. All right.
I'm just glad y'all get the message. You feel me?
Bro, why are you?
What
All
is
right, that look
that?
like punch.
I'm
You're eating
crying
cereal
right
with
now.
punch?
My eyes are
What?
No, we definitely on the intermission part right now, y'all.
No,
Before we jump to the
it's
last
not
topic for
milk.
tonight,
What do we?
we're just engaged in what's going on.
What? I know what is that?
I'll let Dallas explain it to y'all. I know what he's doing, but I'm gonna let
Wait,
him
What is
is
explain it
that
it?
to y'all.
water?
Water and then what? Hold on. I need my glasses. I
And
can't
there's
even
some
see. I'm
juice.
blind. And I'm crying.
Oh
Like,
my
tears
goodness.
are like, oh my god, Dallas makes me cry of
You're crying
laughter.
from laughter.
Oh
And was
god.
that punch or was it juice? Like,
Wait, you put. What's that? Is that Hawaiian punch?
You're on the money. You on the money, Kundan. You on the
Wait,
money.
pine sol? Don't eat that, Dallas! Don't eat it!
what?
What?
Pine Sol?
No, he didn't
I
say
heard
pine
pine.
saw. Where did you get pine saw from? Yeah, happy belated for sure with the pine
Oh
saw.
god.
Yeah, no. Uh,
Alright. Enough. That's enough. That's enough. Nah, so this is called cereal, you feel me? But so what I like to do, cause I don't drink milk, you feel me? So what I like to do is I put cranberry juice, or you can use any really type of juice that you like for real. I done drunk cereal growing up. Nah, hey, hold
No,
on, hold
no,
on,
no.
don't
It's
I
not
judge
don't
you.
me.
know
It's
what
not
is
you.
no,
It's
look
not
milk.
at
yourself.
I'm gonna
Faze.
have to get what is happening.
Hey, look, y'all gotta take. Hey,
Look, look, FaZe, you made a project about this, so you should know what is going on. You made a project in that title, so you should know.
No, but that sounds like a better outcome.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Dallas. Go
so
ahead, Dallas. Go
cranberry
ahead.
juice and what? Water?
And like, cause growing up, right? I don't know about y'all, but I grew up poor. You feel me? So I drunk juice with cereal. So you can use apple juice, you can use orange juice. But me personally, I like cranberry juice. But you don't want to use too much though, cause it's like you gotta like cranberry juice be concentrated. So that's why you gotta add water. So you add the water, it make it taste good. Now I don't tell nobody to do nothing, but I'm just saying milk is good for your body. You feel me? So
It doesn't, yeah. That's a good idea. Never thought about doing it with juice. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, some people call me crazy. Some people say that
it does the same thing.
I said, look, I'm in shape. You feel me? Y'all go look at my post from last night or early this morning. I'm in
Yeah.
Hey.
That's why you had the shut up last week.
All right, Mr. Poster Child, for being fit. I got you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What we talking about today? What we talking about?
So now we're about to transition. We're about to transition into the last topic for tonight, and we can wrap around. But yes, so the last topic we're gonna be talking about is how does being older bring more realizations?
That's a good segue into that topic. Those two are related, huh? Like.
Again, if y'all don't know, on YouTube and Instagram, if y'all don't know this by now, I put my topics together on purpose. They just don't coincidentally happen. It's with intention. So look deeper into it and look closer. But yeah, so at least when it comes to the question, how does being older bring more realizations? I want to challenge the idea of, especially since Dallas is here too, he can speak to
I'm getting an echo.
Put on your headphones.
Hey, look here, my phone on 40%. I'm not about to play with y'all tonight.
This boy. I should say this man.
Hold on.
He says, Dallas, you crazy. That's why we love you.
That is exactly why we love it.
It's because I'm the prettiest chocolate person alive.
It's that confidence, man. I love it.
But I wanted to challenge that question of how does being older bring more realizations? And with Dallas being here, I want to talk about, since we were saying the same thing, I also will equate this to Kundan's example of Leonardo DiCaprio and his dating preferences when it comes to age, and how is age the ultimate factor in having many experiences? So can a 25-year-old have more experience and knowledge than a 45 to 50-year-old?
Because they're not on the same life path. So sometimes people have to grow up faster, and some people don't have to grow up at all. So it depends.
So even if I ended up being much older than, per se, even one of the kids at the school that I'm working with, they might have necessarily more knowledge than I do in something than I have in other things. Yeah. And why, I would say, why is that? Why is that the case? I know you already said a bit of it, but why is that the case?
It can be multiple different reasons. So like, I'll use an example that I'm experiencing right now in my life. I am 29 and I'm in middle management, and I have an employee who is 43, I believe. And they feel that they should be the manager because of the time that they put into the company and the time that they have spent. I'm right behind them. They've had 13 years in the same position. I've had 8. And in the 8 years, I was able to excel or put my best foot forward and make it to manager. Now, when we look at, okay, they may have longer time at the same job as me, but if you go and you look at our paths that we have chosen to take at said job, our track record, so experience, our expertise, our numbers, our actual cracking, like our numbers, mine tend to look better than hers in various areas. So regardless of age and time put in, what was done during that time, what experience was actually gained, what knowledge was taken in and utilized and applied. So it could be a various of things, you know what I mean?
It depends on the life skills and how much you've invested in that area too. Like obviously, I cannot be as good a tennis player as say Serena Williams, right? Exactly. Even though she's younger than me, right? And or as good as Tiger Woods in golf, like even though they're and it depends on how long you've invested in a specific life area. Like like Finland in 2019 elected like the world's youngest serving state leader and the youngest prime minister in Finland history at age 34 when in 2019. Now she's 37, so she's younger than me also, and obviously I can't be a prime minister of any country because I haven't invested my energy that much in in either local or state politics of any country, right? So but there is the specific life skills area versus also the general maturity and brain development as well. So those are two different conversations.
Right. Yeah. What lessons did what lessons did you recognize or lessons? I think our generation we're pretty good at recognizing certain lessons and taking them, whereas maybe we'll look at our parents' generation or the generation before where maybe lessons were there but the focus wasn't on learning from that lesson. The focus was to just keep moving forward. Like my mom's favorite quote that she'll say, just keep living. And I'm like, but is that enough? But is that enough? Just keep living. You'll see. Just keep living.
Yeah, I mean that comes to talk about the whole idea too of what Robert Kiyosaki was talking about with the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and seeing that perspective of that continual will of how now we're starting to challenge that idea of what working a 9-to-5 really is. Oh yeah, shouts out to Poet D Collection, aka Demetrius Ford, for the necklace, the pre-made and the personalized made necklace. Shouts out to you, brother. Thank you. I had to rock it. But we start to question how previous generations did things to now. Really, at 9-to-5, is it sustainable enough to what we're doing?
Dallas has something to say.
First of all,
you already know what he about to say.
I will listen to Dallas say anything. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? I want to hear it.
I know you ain't just kicked me off.
Yes, I did.
So, hey, first,
he will pull up.
Look it, you was in here washing, and we hear you burping in the background while Kundan is talking. So I'm like, there's no way I can be like, all right, please pause this.
He said excuse me. DJ, he said excuse me. He's excuse me.
Oh my goodness. See, in phrases like that too, which is hilarious to be hearing nowadays.
That was all during Essence Festival. It was like, it's the Black Joy for me. You gotta eat every time we live.
I'm not gonna talk about
you munching and crunching. We could hear it.
Yes.
No, hold on. Now y'all just wait a minute.
It's loud.
Nah. Nah,
Oh,
hey,
Oh,
oh, here he is. Calvin, don't roll your
nah,
eyes.
Don't, don't,
no,
don't say all that
The poor boy
stuff.
ain't ate all
No.
day. Let the baby eat.
Hey,
Why
but
Let,
you making it
let
seem
the
like he
baby
on the
eat.
street?
Let the baby eat. Let him
You
eat.
hear this?
see, that's why I like her. That's why I like her.
Oh my
See,
goodness.
y'all gotta. Anyway, so, but when it come to, and it's wild. It's not wild. It was a conversation I was just having today about, like, actually yesterday. If I'm being honest, yesterday with one of my OGs, and he a good dude. And he got on the phone. We ain't spoke in a while. Like we ain't even seen each other in a while. Like that in a long. Like we ain't, and when I say a while,
Yeah.
I mean like we ain't seen each other in a while. We ain't talked in a while. And when he called me the other day, it was like 20 seconds into the phone call. We was talking about like he was just telling me like what he was going through and why he hasn't been on social media, and like I haven't been on social media either like that. Now I'm starting to post a little bit more, but even that, like I'm deleting it. I literally just downloaded it, saw y'all was on live, and I was like, oh, let me get on my dog on there, you know. But anyway, so he got on the phone though. He's like 45, 35. And
Yeah, I know that was a big gap. I
Which
know.
one? Which one? Which one? He said 45, 35. Which one are we at? Are we in the spectrum? I feel like I'm 45 today when I'm actually 32. Like,
hey, look, hey, check
ooh, what's
this.
up, Ack? I see you in here, Accurate the Wise, man, because he accurate, man.
He's
Hey,
The
check
older.
this
audio
out.
archer.
Hey, check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell y'all something. He was
Okay.
one of them niggas
He's somewhere in the
between
in the
them.
realm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when he got on the phone though, well nah, for real, it's wild because when he got on the phone, he started telling me like we talk life stuff. So
Yeah.
he got there talking about something. And when he said to me, my response, now I'm only like Earth years, I call it Earth years, you feel me? I'm like 25, you feel me? But what I always say though, like, cause even when I cut my beard and stuff like that,
Treating you sweet, peace and love.
I'm gonna have to trademark that. I see.
Earth
But
year.
anyway,
Okay.
that's a whole
Earth
nother
age.
time
Okay.
and time.
Okay. Keep going. Keep going. I'm
Nah,
invested.
and so what he told, nah, for real though, what he told me was, he said, "Yo, it's funny that you." And he
Mm-hmm.
always called me Young OG. Ever since I met him when I was about like 18, 19. But he's always called me Young OG. And the reason why he called me Young OG is because I go through so much in life that like he in between that age range, right? 35 to 45. And well, let me not say 45 because
He's not
ain't
40
yet.
yet.
So 35 or 40, you feel?
He just
Gotcha.
don't want to give away the
Gotcha.
age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he up, but he went through something. And on a way another level, you feel me? Like if I was to even talk about it, it's just deep. You got to be in that moment to understand it. And then it was just so crazy though when you said like how does being older bring more realization? I always say it ain't never about the age. I feel like it's about experience. I always been walking in life, so that's why even a lot of times like when people sit me down, I start watching this podcast recently, and when I watch these podcasts or when I see these things that people be watching, I'm like, even CJ will tell you like he didn't ask me about books and ask me like, yo, did you read this book? And I'm like, nah, why? And he'd be like, cause what you saying or how you moving or what's going on is like it's something about this book, you feel me? And I'll be like, oh damn, that's crazy. And it's like I just go through life. So that's why I always tell people, I'm like, when you live life and you go through life, I feel like that's the best knowledge you can gain. Like so many people be trying to let me get in this book and try to, and like it's like you only getting it from that one perspective. You're not getting it from what's actually going on around you,
Yeah.
and that might be going on in the world. So I always say the realization keyword is real.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like,
here we go.
So yeah. So I always say, like, the stuff that go on in the real world, it's like you got to get out in the real world to understand what going on in the real world. And some folks, including my parents, I look at my parents and I'm like, they play it safe, and that's cool. I always knew from a youngin' though, I said, I ain't gonna play it safe. I'm gonna make a sacrifice that my family ain't gonna have to make. So I see that and they all playing it safe. So if everybody playing it safe, what you think? Let me not say too much.
No, I got you. I'm on the same frequency as you. I'm the rebel.
You're on that 35 to 45
don't
frequency.
play me.
Or wait, not 40.
Don't play
but
me,
I mean the
because I got
40.
2 months till I'm 30. Don't try to put me in.
Look here, I'm on that way with you.
I'm still on my Earth years.
In space years. Love my G. I'm gonna get at you soon. I'm in the lab right now, bro. Handle it. I'm waiting for that magic to come, my G. And yeah, it's long overdue that we haven't gotten to talk. So shout outs to
Sounds
you.
like an after show.
Thank you. No, there is not gonna be no after show. Not right now. We're not working on no after show. But really going to, that's why I really wanted to bring this question, and that's why I referenced Dallas earlier, because I knew that was going to be the situation where honestly experience trumps years, because you can literally be here for 100 years and still have not experienced one fourth or even like a 1% of what this world has to offer you if you've decided to just stay sedentary versus going out there and doing it. That's the whole concept of how I feel about knowledge versus wisdom. I can have all this information, I can know all of these things, but if I don't apply the information, go out and do the work, I'm never going to be able to crystallize it and turn it into wisdom. So I see it the same way when it comes to, does being older bring more realizations? It can bring realizations, but again, yes, not necessarily.
Because I know some older people in their 50s and 60s, and it still hasn't clicked. You know what I mean? So age has really nothing to do with it. It's about what you've lived, what you've retained, what you've learned from. And again, the key word, how did you apply it? Every time you made your moves, keyword, apply. Because you can have it.
Hey, hold on. First of all, go ahead.
I think your privilege might also be a factor in that,
what
too.
Happened?
You got twist. Yeah.
Oh,
there we go.
I was trying to wait to say that, but yes, Dallas, I'm just as excited.
Yeah.
I'm just as excited. I am just as excited. I saw it sticking out. I did.
Yeah.
We talking about what's the word? That's the word.
I'm so sorry, Kundan.
Man, oh yeah, it's not. Before I do that, I got again. Shouts out to the brother Sincerely Knows the Truth, aka
Are you wearing the shirt?
Notes, aka Notes, aka Anubis. Get out the kitchen. I'm
Is that Ramen City?
over here working on the merch over here. Yes, black. That's black manga prints. That's his shirt, black manga prints.
Hey, shout out to you, boss man.
You got the Ramen City one?
Huh? This
Yay! That's what I thought too.
Yeah. Hey, I really appreciate the love. I mean, bro, of course, man. I'm not on here to just be like, yeah, you come only support what's the word, and I ain't trying to hear nothing about what you got. Nah. That's not how it is, man. Shoot, we all
Notes, I got you. I'm gonna be hitting you up soon.
Yes.
Oh, yes, Dallas.
And another thing. Let me tell y'all something new.
I know.
That smile is devious. What's going on?
Not serious.
Don't do it. It pulls out my heartstrings. FTK, I don't even have
You about to make me flip.
Stop it, Dallas. You're making me want kids. Stop it. You're so adorable.
No. Yeah. And but for real though, when it comes to life, like even when it comes to birthdays and stuff like that, right? Like I don't really like celebrating birthdays because to me it just be like a whole nother day. Like I'm for real, like all that stuff about like age and all that, even with titles, like for a long time, like shorties would try to be they'll try to tell me like, oh, we in a relationship. But when I started to look around, I'm like, everybody that got in a relationship, like, I'm like, look at your life, but your life stopped. I'm like, my life kept going. So I'm like, bro, I don't want to be in a relationship. We could talk, we could do whatever fun we having for right now. Like, I don't care if that's a month, 2 months, however long that is, but it's like, cause it's like, then it's like, you know what? And yo, go deeper into that. I think that's why a lot of people be so up here too, cause they be feeling like, damn, it ain't work out with that person. Oh, I gotta do this when nah, your life, you got a greater purpose. And when you figure out that greater purpose, it's like, if you ain't already figured it out already, right? It's like, yo, work on your self-improvement. And because I ain't never been so wrapped up in what everybody else doing, not even my shorty or nothing like that. Like, I done been with a woman, like so many dudes, and they call it insecure. I think we just need to find better words for this type of stuff, or listen to it differently. However, we need to do that. But one thing I found out was, like, the concept of insecure. You're gonna only be insecure. I don't know. That word is different to me.
I'm about to flip it. I'm about to flip it for you, but I will say this. Crisss and Kundan are probably were looking at me because I kept doing all of this and stuff is because I was speaking on the same thing earlier. For me, I shout out Prince when it comes to thinking about birthdays and how for me it's the mindset. It changes people to think like, oh, I'm keep on getting older and older. And when that happens in your mind, you feel like you're missing out and you're losing stuff. So each year that you grow, you feel like you're losing something. But again, other folks that's not in their minds, but it's been exactly.
It's like I was gonna say, you know how a tree has like, as it grows, it has tree bark has like extra rings.
They get the rings. Yeah, exactly.
They get the rings.
For the age, yes. Yes.
For the age, it's similar. Like, hopefully, it's a marker of growth for us rather than just, you know, another year.
Exactly. Taking that away from it. All right, now I'm about to flip it. All right. So, insecure. You got in and you got secure, right? So that means you're within your security. If you really think about how because in is like you're inside of a house. And secure, that means you're secure within yourself. So that means the insecurity of yourself, you're inside of yourself being secure. But that's why people say you're insecure because you're looking within yourself because there's something that's missing that you're looking outside trying to get away from.
And that's why, like, yo, go ahead. And I was going to say, first I was going to say two things. Crisss, I was going to say that.
Yes, it's a sun earring.
It look real nice. I just peeped that too, by the way. But what I was gonna say is like so many like women that try to deal with me, or like that try to be in proximity with me, like on that level. I be like, like I don't really get asked this question, but if I am asked this question, like
asking a question, Crisss.
No, about being like insecure, and I know I probably asked women that in the past, I probably asked the shorty like, yo, is you one of them insecure? And the reason why is because I know what it means to them, and at the same time it's like I know I be doing things that to them it's like it ain't normal, but it's like you're not dealing with a normal person.
What are you doing to them? I don't know. I don't like the language. But do something to them.
Crisss, I have questioned this from the beginning of time when I have met him. So I've already questioned, but I've come to understand a bit more about his self and the way that he pronounces stuff. So it may not come out the way you think he's trying to explain it. But yeah.
You feel me?
Now I'm gonna tell you, you gonna take that phrase back. He know it exactly. But continue.
All I'm gonna say that on that is I ain't do nothing. Ain't no.
Oh no! Stop! I tap out. Can we get back to birthdays?
Hey, no,
and knowing about realizations, which I didn't even get to flip that either. But go ahead.
No, for real though. But that's in that concept like that. And even all of that, right? Like some people don't talk about certain things. I'll be like, bro, you gotta talk about things to get somewhere in life. I'm like, I tell people that all the time. I'm like, the reason why some people are so trapped in this world where they believe what they believe and what they think is so real is because you're not out here talking about the things that, like, I done been in rooms that you're gonna probably want to walk into, and it's like some people, I've just had to accept the fact, like some people, they would never be able to walk in these rooms, and the reason why is because it's for numerous of reasons. The main one though, let's stick with the main one, is just really because you gotta be open-minded, like closed-minded, and that's really the key. Closed-minded, like I'm not saying closed-minded to the point of like don't believe in your own stuff, like stand on what you stand on, but open-minded to the point where it's like I'm open to these things that I might not know, or that shit, I ain't never been around, like most people never been around a millionaire on here, right? So it's like if you ain't never been around a millionaire or a billionaire, you don't know how they talk. You don't know the conversations that they had, you feel me? So if you ain't never been in that room, or if you ain't never been at that table, you can't sit there and, like, I hear it all the time and I laugh at that shit. They be like, yo, this is how certain, I'll be like, bruh, you gotta get there. You gotta open your mind to something that you don't know. You gotta really open yourself and put yourself out there to be exposed to this type of stuff. You feel me? Like, oh, I'm about to go back home and chill in the house. Yeah. Well, guess what? While you in the house, I'm out there at the store buying too. So now you can't run into me because you at the house. You feel me? So it's like you got to get out. You got to get out for some type of exposure. You feel me? Like, it's all about exposure, and I'm giving y'all free game right here, so y'all better really listen.
Look,
like,
I'm gonna add to it. That's why, for me, life's greatest teachers is nature, life itself, personal experience, other people's lived experiences. And then that's where you have technology, where that comes from books, online articles, all of those sources. All of these together combined, if you go out in nature, you're going to see how all of these experiences and stuff happen and grow. Because again, like you said, exposure, that's the key word, is exposure. How do you think certain plants and life and things grow?
The sun.
Being exposed.
And water. And air.
Exposure of the sun, of water and things, of all the necessities that life, which can be experienced, has to offer you. And I'll even flip it further. And I've done this flip before, but it continues to show me day in, day out that this life is a game. Because what happens when you're in a game, you get experience.
Did Dallas tell you this? Did you learn this from Dallas? Did you find this in the book of Dallas?
No.
Chapter 13, verse 1 through 7. The book of Dallas?
No. No. No.
I'll be God.
You acted like you the ones like, yeah, I'll put you on game about this, bro. This has been ruminated before we even met. It came to realization when I went to Seattle.
But I'm not always on this type of time, though. I was like, life is a game. CJ, you 100 times you'd have probably heard me say that. Well,
no, I know you say, I know you say it. You making it seem like you the originator. I'm not the originator either. I'm talking about as I've continued, it started to make a lot more sense. I even thought about this when I was playing. I use Assassin's Creed as a reference all the time. And Assassin's Creed came out back in high school.
See, they don't give us color folk our problem. See.
All right, he is hyped tonight. For them chips.
Oh,
I was gonna say
them chips, all of that, everything.
Chips and the cranberry juice.
And the cranberry juice,
the chips, the cranberry juice in the cereal.
There's even a book called Finite Games and Infinite Games.
You see how they do this? You see how they do this?
Yeah, say that again,
I said
Kundan. Say
there's
that
even a
again.
book called Finite Games and Infinite Games, and it's been around for a few years at least. I think it's been around for at least 10 or
Yeah.
20 years. Like,
I was literally saying that this morning to myself on what speech I was going to give my employees today. Because I was like, dang, game
oh
of
yeah,
life.
that book.
Like, you could choose to play or you can choose to, like, stop. But, like, either way, make a choice.
Hey,
Actually, there's literally a book called Game of Life too.
How are you on a
He's on
phone
because
on
he's
a
a
phone?
businessman. It's Dallas.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody better let him know.
But again,
Oh yeah, there's literally
the
there's literally
analogy.
a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It, and it was published in 1925.
Okay.
So
Now I want y'all to see something.
I even made a song back in high
goes
school
like,
called
nope.
Game of Life.
what is
What
this?
is
Fun
this?
and games. Says fun and games.
I think it's fun and games.
Right. So, hey, this are old pictures. I don't care what nobody
Why are
says.
you trying to go predate this information? Kundan already done exposed the information back to 1925. So if you was not born back in that year around the time that Martin Luther King was brought, as well as John Henry Clark and everybody.
I was there in spirit.
I'll give you that. I will give him that. Let's give him that.
I was here. They was making me somewhere. They was like,
Energy cannot be created or destroyed. He was out here lingering.
While he was eating his spiritual
Out here
chips.
lingering. Waiting for his time.
Hey, once again, we do not sponsor this brand.
Oh my goodness. I'm not doing this again. I don't even know what brand that is. In this segment of What's the Word Wednesdays. Okay, in this section of What's the Word Wednesdays is not sponsored by Clancy's Chips. Tom Clancy.
And then now you showing the bag saying you don't sponsor.
But what you know about it? Because you said who is it? I'm trying to show you.
Put it straight up to the camera just like this. See it further. Get it, sponsorship.
You gotta have to edit and put the blurry thing over all these bags.
I am not taking time to edit over this. Just go straight up to YouTube so I can go to sleep.
Hey, talk about a sponsor though. Y'all know who need to sponsor me for real? Nike need to sponsor me. Cause guess what?
What?
I've been wearing Nike since I could afford it, honestly.
Get on TikTok.
That was very convincing. So if you hear this, Nike, go ahead and take
their
over.
Sponsorships. Get on TikTok, make videos, make deals, email them, and then they respond. They give you gear.
So they can
they
come
give you
to
gear.
more
You make a video in that gear. They just keep giving you stuff.
I'ma just find out who the top, the owner, or who I need to talk to up there. What they call it?
CEO.
Oh, whoever that is. I'ma email they and they gonna see what we doing in life, and they gonna be like, you know,
He gonna have a commercial, y'all.
It's a cold email.
Tune in.
No, I got
because there's a CEO.
It might just go into the spam folder, though.
There's a
the COOs of operations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't need to talk to nobody operation. I need finance. We need money. We need to check.
I think you want to meet the executive. That's the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO.
You gonna meet the CFO and them? Cause I need the person.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all gotta go to chain of command. I mean, I'm gonna meet the CEO eventually. Like, if they together, like, oh.
Oh my goodness. All right, going back into this of the realizations. I even break down the word realization. Realize. basically being in the state of realizing. So when you have a realization, you are in that state of realizing what's
Find out
happening
what's
to you.
real, right?
You said sin?
Realization.
No, so
Find out what's real.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, so when I'm talking about Dallas, is I break it down into those sections. You see, TION is not how it's pronounced, but what that basically is when you break it off is meaning in the state of or in the realm. So that's why I'm talking about breaking the word down. That's what I was saying.
The
So
state
you're
of
in the
what's
state
real.
of realize to real. So the only way for realizations is to come is that you have to put yourself in real situations.
Hey, for real though, like it takes some people to get knocked out to realize they ain't know how to fight.
They were in the state of realizing.
They knew how to fight.
So they knocked them into a state of realization. Hey, look at that's the reason why they call it the ah moment.
The ah moment.
Yeah, the ah moment.
I ain't gonna hold you. I had one moment like that in well, it was two, but it was really one because the other one ain't really count.
We not judging. We love it.
Look, the first one, the first one. I remember the first one because the first one, that dude. What happened with the first one? Oh, the first dude, I taught him how to box. So what it was I used to have this thing. I can tell y'all now though. So I got this thing. It's called the two. It's called the 2-piece. But don't think about it in the hood manner. Think about it in an actual like you accurate precision and everything with it. You feel me? So what it is I'm gonna hit you twice in your nose, and you ain't gonna be able to see nothing. And a lot of people don't know if you get hit twice in your nose or hard enough in your nose, it'll mess up your vision. That a lot of people don't know that, right? So I taught this dude how to fight, and one day we got into it. I don't know what happened, but he chose violence this morning. And like I was in high school, obviously, but when he woke up, I mean not woke up. when he woke up in the morning.
So you get a 2-piece, and when he woke up, he said, "That's how it goes." Okay, so remember this. Remember this moment. This your ah moment. It's your realization.
Nah. Opposite though. Opposite. When he woke up that morning, I don't know what he had against me. Something happened. I think we was messing with the same girl. It's like a football player I used to play football with. But it was like I wasn't messing with his girl. His girl came on to me. I didn't even know that girl. Like. So anyway, so he was mad. And he was so mad that I wasn't even paying attention to him. I'll be really focused on life stuff, like how I am today. I'll be focused on life stuff, right? The dude, he hit me. And I was like I was leaning though. Like I was like, oh, I'm about to fall. And I was sitting there like, boy, if I fall, this is going to look so bad. But thank God I ain't fall. Because that's why I said he sucked me. So it wasn't more so like, that's why I said it was two of them, but only one of them count. Cause that one ain't the one that count. Cause when I stood back up, he ain't want no smoke. But the second dude, we was in high school too. And this one I said, boy, you gotta leave people alone. Cause I woke up mad as hell that day. I remember too. This
Wave Dash, peace and love.
Real life stuff will teach you about real life stuff. You feel me? And yo, I was just so mad that morning that it was like I was trying to choose. It wasn't that I was mad. He was messing with me too on top of that. So it was like a balance. Without what I learned was you just gotta, like I said, you're gonna have to learn how to do something. Cause this dude must have, like we was fighting and in the midst of the fight, he hit me like twice. I said, what if I don't duck the next, this fight's gonna be over quick. Hey, I promise y'all, like, yo, real life moments will help you understand, like, all right, bro, if he's swinging like that, that's some raw ass power, like, you feel me? But then Nah, for real. But then also, like I said, now it's like you learn, you get stronger, you get better. And then now I'm at a place of peace where it's like you shouldn't want those things in your life. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like
It helped you
reality
realize.
checks. Another
it
thing.
Knocked you into the state of realization.
I will knock his ass out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
No, but I say that. I don't say that like we too violent. I'm just saying like now it's like it made me a better fighter. You feel me? Because I ended up going off into boxing and stuff like that and wrestling and stuff. So I had to get my skills up. Well, that helped me get my skills up because I'm like, I got this thing where like if you hit me hard, you gotta hit me way harder the next time.
Right.
All right, One Punch Man.
But that's life, though. We'll talk about realization. That's life. Like, how many people get hit hard in life?
Resilient.
And they just get your ass hit so hard that it's like me, I'm like, well, we can do it now. What's up? Now you don't want it because now I'm more prepared for it. And that's life. Like, some people, they not prepared for life. They not prepared for certain things. So when they get hit, like, it could be like one of them in life. And it's like,
shakes up their whole reality.
and it's like damn, like, and they don't. Some people don't never rise back up. If y'all notice, when the first one he hit me, when I was leaning, I said, "Shit, don't fall." And
that's like an out of body experience he had. That's what he's saying.
Hey yo, when I say I was on parallel with the bricks, it was a brick wall. I was on parallel with the bricks. I'm looking at the brick wall like, shit. Hey, I promise you I can't make this shit up. Like, I can't make none of this shit up. And yo, and when I stood up, I said, we good now. I said, we did not fall. I said, hey man, you got me. And like, cause now it's like, all right, it's up. But like how you said though, like some people, and that's life though, some people, they get hit like that and they don't never get up. They just fall their ass down. Like, they don't know how to.
They don't realize.
Fall. And I felt. What you mean? The ground.
I was trying to say it. I tried.
I was on the same with you, Chris. I got you, but he's still going back to his conversation, thinking you talking about.
So you were able to come back. You get it?
No, okay. I do get it. I'm saying like I'm just saying it in the sense of like that's life too though. Like some people like they don't understand that. Like let's say homeless, right?
Yeah.
They'll be or not homeless. Just say just anything in life. Like it could be car situation, finances. Like bruh, you about to go broke. You need to find a source of income. Have that source of income. And that's when it hit the flow. Like. That's one of them moments when it's like, get your ass up so you don't hit the flow. You feel me? Even if you might not all the way be up at that time, it's like, bro, just stand up. It's times when I was going through my worst days and people never knew. It's like, cause I'm waking up every day, I'm smiling, like I'm walking out the door, just thankful that I'm able to walk out my door and be like, let me go do this work. You feel me? Let me go. I might go meet somebody today. I can't just be mad because I'm mad. Like, see, I might, and it's still been times where like I might have not had a smile on my face, but I feel like when somebody encounter me, you gonna see me. I'm like, hey, how you doing? You feel me? And it's all genuine because if I don't want to talk, I'm not gonna say nothing to you. Yeah. So a lot of people they don't know how to do that. They'll be mad at some shit that happened yesterday or. At the house, and it's like, don't bring that out into the world, though. Like, walk out into the world, and be positive. Like, and I'm not saying like, yo, I ain't never been that person. Like, I done for sure been that person when I woke up sometimes, and it's just like, but if I encounter somebody, I'm gonna smile though. Like, I'm still gonna smile, and I'm gonna give that person the best that I got for whatever moment we got right there. You feel me? Yeah. And that's the difference between a lot of folks. The folks that really want to get somewhere and show their resilience, and the folks that just like, all right, I'm gonna lay down and I'm gonna let life keep knocking me on my ass, and you scared. In your heart, you scared. Do some push-ups. Push-up. If you notice, push-ups make your chest a certain way, and when your chest is a certain way, no, for real. And when your chest is a certain way, like once you start doing push-ups, your heart beat different. Like, and I went through an experience where it was like, I had to understand people that walk every day. I said, God had to really humble me in a way where it was like, okay, now you ready to do this now. Cause now you understand. You feel me? And that's why I tell people now though, like, do push-ups. Like, do whatever like, do a workout, do some running, do running. Like, I tell people, do running. Like, and you ain't got to run full speed, go jogging. Just jog some laps. Your heart gonna be better. You gonna spit out some mucus and all that bad stuff. You gonna be breathing a little different. You gonna be like, hey, how you doing? It's gonna make you just want to be more positive. Because it's like, how you gonna be mad and you did something to improve yourself?
Look, and to your point, because movement is so important, and how that also is a metaphor for stagnant waters and a moving stream. If you're stagnant and you're sitting, you're sedentary for so long, and you're consuming food that makes you feel sick, you're listening to things that also make you feel sick. All of those, your senses are being influenced in that particular way. How are you not a stagnant water with all that, I'm going to say toxic, but, all of that, nastiness inside of you? If you don't get yourself moving, like the stream continues to move, and you see how fresh and renewed and rejuvenated it is, because movement is important. We're what? We're human beings. And what do human beings do? We be moving because we're here. So I definitely am there with you when it comes to the. And he came in here earlier under chicken and beef. Let's see what he gonna say. I bet y'all know the first thing he gonna say.
Nah, and to your point though, CJ, where it's like, that's why it's so important that people understand, like, no matter what you might be facing, and like, you already know, one of my rules is no excuses. Like, get your ass up.
I need you to talk to my employees, Dallas. No, like, seriously.
Nah, for real. And I've been told that, like, I'm really one of them ones. Like, I've been through so much in life, and I've seen other people. You said it earlier, CJ. There's 4 ways. Like, I've seen other people's experiences. I've seen people that I've helped. I've seen people that have helped me, and like, yo, the one thing that I've learned is, like, bro, it really ain't no excuse why you can't. My family got this, bro. Y'all know it was a period in time when my mama had potentially cancer, and it's like, bro, nobody knew what I was going through, but I ain't going there and be like, bro, I can't do this today, and this hurt. So if that's my mama, and I care about that woman to death, it's like, why? Like, so many people sit around stagnant. It's like, when you sit around stagnant, just being like, oh, I had this going on, and I had a death in the family, bro. We all got death, bro. I had like 4 deaths in my family last year or something like that. Probably more than that, to be honest. But it's like, yo, you can't let that affect you from moving forward. Like, yeah, go through the motions. Do what you got to do. I ain't telling you don't do what you got to do. But, yo, I want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to find their purpose, you feel me? Like, because life can be so great for a lot of people, but it's like they get hit sometimes, and it's like, nah, get up, don't make no excuse about it. Do your push-ups, do your workout, whatever you need to do. Like CJ said, like, put those positive things in your ear. Like, people ask me why I listen to certain type of music. Like, right now, I got a song on right now.
I know. You're just so adorable. You're my cosmic son. Like, I've adopted you in the stars. Like, so adorable.
Sorry. Yo, appreciate. For real though. But and the thing is, for real, and I appreciate that, because yo, you gotta come with the love. You gotta come with the positive. And even though, like, I know y'all gonna hear a lot of people say that, the people that's really in my life, like CJ and stuff like that, bro, he'll tell you, bro, it been times when like I said, we all go through stuff, but it's like, at the same time, he'll tell you about times when it's like, I done went through something, and I ain't even speak on it. It's like, because I'm not speaking on it, because it's more so like, bro, we know what we need to do. You feel me? Like, get up and do it. A lot of people be talking about it, and it's like, bro, you know what you need to do to get yourself out that situation. Get up and do it. Like, I done had to cut people off, stop talking to family for a minute. Certain things I had to mix up, shake up, roll the dice again. Okay, this would need to happen right now. You feel me? And you gotta stop being scared to lay. I always say, lay a new foundation. Sometimes the foundation that you were building on it wasn't sturdy enough. Some people don't even understand that. Like sometimes you could be building on a foundation that ain't sturdy, and that it includes your family, friends, business partners and stuff like that. Like, and it's like, yo, even with business partners, I heard somebody, and it's the most fucked up saying I've heard in this world, and excuse my language, yo, that is definitely the most messed up saying, right? I used to hear, it's just business. No, it ain't just business. That's how you is. And people in general, I want y'all to know, like, because I know everybody trying to start a business or they're in business, and it's like, yo, I want people to be successful, you feel me? Like, and one thing is, I look for character before I even do business. I look for, does this person show up on time? Is this person meaning what they say? And even the timing, even as I start to be around like more different people, I understand sometimes the timing might be a little, it is what it is.
I'm not
like I said, we move on to the time. They might tell me, yeah, they might, specifically when I say that, I mean like people of like, that's like myself and other people that got like, yo, but even myself, like, that's why I don't believe it. Like, I'm on time. Like, if I tell you I'm going to be there at 3, I'm going to be there at 3. If I'm going to be running late, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to be running late. And even with that, like, that's things that I look for in a business partner. Like, even if I met a dude at the golf course, and he was a real cool dude. He showed me how to golf. He gave me some real tips. Yo, golfing is fun. If y'all ain't tried it, y'all need to try
Chicken and beef.
And the one thing that I learned from this dude was, he told me, he was like, yo, let's go golfing this weekend. Now, me, I take you at face value when I meet you. So if you tell me let's go golfing this weekend, that's on you to tell me to go golfing. Because now it's like, even though you own a liquor, he owns a liquor brand. He's a business person. He said, yo, D, if you ever need anything you throw in a party, tap in with me, man. And I'll give you any type of liquor bottles that you need for your party. Well, how can I count on you to be reliable for a party if you couldn't even be reliable for us to go off the weekend? And now you reach out to me later on. It's like, I'm not that type of person. And I tell people, like, those are characteristic traits that you might want to look out for when you want to be friends with somebody, when you want to be in business with these people, man. And shout out to you, Mr. Chicken and Beef. I see you. But yo, this free game though, man. Like, lay your foundations. Make sure your foundations that you build are always solid. And don't be afraid to knock them houses down. Go somewhere else and build that new foundation. You feel me? Like, cause it's all up here. So it's like, don't be afraid to go somewhere else, lay that new foundation, and be like, all right, so what we want to build on this foundation now? What we building right now? So, and sometimes, let me tell y'all what stop a lot of y'all from being successful. It be y'all family. It really be, I done talk to people from 18 to
45,
60. No, for real. But 60 and up. No, for real. 60, 50.
Went higher.
One thing that I noticed though, it be your family. It's like when you will be creating that new foundation, you will go right back to talking to all them people, and it's like, man, God was trying to pull your ass this way, and you keep trying to go that way. So it's like, go with the flow. Like you said with the water, like, stop being stagnant, go with the flow. Because when you go with the flow, it's like, go with the flow and
make some dough.
Open-minded.
So right? You won't be po.
Nah, I like that. I like that. No, I like
of course.
That.
Of course.
I like that.
The aliens approve. No, but my phone is gonna die, look, so I'm gonna say my goodbyes now.
Yes. Give your go ahead and give final thoughts, because then that's what I wanted to do. Let's go ahead and do our wrap ups and be done for today.
So my final thoughts before my phone dies. Birthdays are dope. I don't care. I'm grateful to meet every one of you guys. So I will always be a strong advocate for celebrating you. Secondly, I don't think age matters when it comes to making realizations. It does come from within. What you experience, what you take in, what you discard, what you self-evaluation. comparisons, all those things are needed for realizations. It does not necessarily count on or depend on how old you get, how much older you get. So that's where I'm at. I guess I won't see you guys next week, but I will hit you up personally, CJ. We will talk later.
My dog CJ, but that name gonna stick, bro. I'm telling you.
All right, bye guys.
Stick. But hold on, Chris. No,
Bye. Bye, Chris.
Chris. Nah, shout out
Whose
to
birthday?
and I know probably. Oh, she left.
No, because her phone was really, I can tell when she ready to go, her phone was really going. But go ahead, Alice.
Nah, but shout out to her though. It ain't nobody's birthday. My birthday was like 6 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
the
bro,
topic was about birthdays. You just chicken and beef came in and it came out,
it's my birthday though.
Hold on, this person got 11 baby mamas?
No, this is a troll. Chicken and beef likes to troll, so this is a part of the show. You have to be able to go with the flow again, like the water. Don't be stagnant, okay? But with that, before I let you, Dallas, let's go ahead. I'm gonna let Kundan, your wrap up and final thoughts for tonight's show.
Okay, me? Yeah. Yeah, so I was also gonna say, in Burmese astrology, I also celebrate the day of the week that I was born. So today is my birthday in that sense. It's Wednesday. So every Wednesday is also my birthday in addition to my regular birthday. So
hey, every Wednesday your birthday. Hey man, that's a beautiful mindset. Let me say that. Like they don't understand it, but I say somebody asked me like, they like, today's Friday. I got the weekend off. I'm like, every day is Friday. So every week is your birthday on Wednesday, bro. I get it. Keep turning.
Yeah, and also, I was going to say one thing that was missing from when we were discussing, because the question was, how does being older bring more realization? Which is like, what does it take, right, to have more realizations? And then one more thing that we didn't discuss was the role of privilege and life experience, right? Because for you to gain that wisdom that we were talking about versus just information, we need some life challenges in that. So for me, like, say, a cis straight white man who grew up in Beverly Hills versus, say, someone like me who grew up in a military dictatorship, right, with 3 different cultures, I would say I have I would say I would have more life experience than somebody my own age or even older than me who grew up in Beverly Hills, right?
Yes.
Because that person clearly has more privilege than me and therefore less life challenges that they had to overcome. So in that sense, I think that also is a factor in bringing more realization. It's not just the age. In terms of age, I feel like the main advantage is I think you just have more time to think and process your information to turn into wisdom just because, the number of years you've had, right? You have that advantage. I think that's the main thing. And also possibly brain development, right? Even though that's debatable and still under research. Some people say the brain doesn't fully develop until age 25 or 26, So that's that factor too. I think that also would help you in bringing more realizations where,
What's up, Wolfpack?
Yeah, another thing I want to say is you're not too young, not too old to have the success that you want. There are people who didn't even start, a successful business until their 70s, for example. I think the founder of McDonald's or KFC, I think, didn't even start their business until in their 50s or their 70s, something like that. So it's don't always realize that you still have a chance,
Appreciate that, like always, Kundan.
And that's powerful, Kun, because that's why I say it's never too late. You feel me?
Yeah.
And one thing I learned though, while also saying it's never too late, is like we can listen to the youth to help us go get there a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Cause like my mom and pops wasn't exposed to certain things that I'm exposed to, and I can help them get to certain places a lot. And like my brother, he was telling me something about free game right now. So if y'all listening, if you ain't on here, you gon' miss out on this information. And if he is on here, yo, tap into this information. But yo, it's something called staple coins and stuff like that. And my brother, yo, told me about this last year.
Yeah.
And he's young, and it's my younger brother. He told me about it. And even though I don't know if he fully understands it yet, I just heard another wealthy person talk about this specific thing. So y'all better go do some research and figure some things out. But that's free game right there. You feel me? Get y'all life started, man.
Yeah. But with that, my brother, go ahead and please grace us with your final thoughts and your wrap up for tonight's show on any of the topics.
Tonight's show was amazing as always, man. Y'all tap in with my brother CJ, aka also known as Avis. When it comes to birthdays, I don't really know about current events. Is really the realization. That's the word. You feel me? Current events is always that exposure to the world.
Key word today.
Yeah, and birthdays, all of that. Honestly, all of that play together. You feel me? If you really know how to look at it and stuff like that. But if y'all was on here, man, tap into this episode, and y'all, I really hope that y'all listen to the experiences of the speakers and stuff like that outside of the goofy stuff that might be going on. Like we glad that we could make y'all smile and stuff like that. But yo, also listen to there's a key part about success that everybody doesn't know, and it's listen to the story, but listen to the message within the story that was learned. Because there's something going around right now. I've heard about it. Would you want that dinner with Jay-Z or that bag, that money? You feel me? But it's like if you listen to people who have made it through things, like when they got hit by life, you're gonna learn how to get through these realizations and these birthdays and all of these current events, and then you might then yourself become a current event.
Okay. Look at that. Try to wrap it all in there together with a bow and everything. Well, I appreciate that, brother. But again, thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Kundan. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody that's in here in the chat. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and for sharing your thoughts, sharing your perspectives. And for my final thought, as well as my wrap up, again, when it comes to current events, the important takeaway from it is to be aware of what's happening around you in your situation. So please be informed about what's going on around you, because you're able to properly plan not only for yourself, but also properly plan for those all around you, so you can continue to know what's the word. Second, when it comes to birthdays, at the end of the day, it is one day that you've been born, but it is also a time to, again, remind yourself that you're grateful for being here on this earth, to have another experience, to continue to grow and continue to learn. And however you like to express that and show that, whether if your moon is in this house next to your neighbors on the family cycle and the rearing, all the other stuff that comes along with understanding birthdays and being here, just know that it's you, that's yours, and own it. And lastly, again, shouts out to both Dallas and Kundan. Storytelling is a very important fact. Storytelling, learning how to tell a story and be a great storyteller, helps you to learn how to grasp and get the message, which when it comes to how does being older bring more realizations, is once you learn how, bro, you gotta turn it off. I'm getting an echo.
Oh, you got the echo?
Yeah, I got the echo. But once you've come to learn more about being older and learn about these obstacles that you get over, you come to into realizations, because again, you use that knowledge and you turn it into wisdom, because you go outside and you have the experience. So you level up in your video game that we call life. But with that, y'all, This has been another episode of What's the Word Wednesdays. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We gonna catch y'all next Wednesday, but this dude wants to have something left to say before I end out because he's trying to stay on super long. So I'll catch y'all next week. I'm gonna let him say it somewhere else.
I just want him to hear the song.
They ain't worried about no song. You gonna get me kicked off of YouTube with the song. Turn the song off, please. But we'll catch y'all not next Wednesday,
peace and love,
but the following Wednesday for another What's the Word Wednesdays. But again, shouts out to everybody. We'll see y'all. This will be on Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube at Avid Speaks, and we will catch y'all next time. Peace and love. We're out.